Have you ever wondered how someone can disappear without leaving a single trace? Not in the middle of the wilderness, not during a war, but while talking on the phone, or driving home, or walking through a place they knew by heart. Every year, thousands of people are reported missing. Most are found within hours or days, but a small number simply vanish. No confirmed sightings, no arrests, no answers. And in some of the most chilling cases ever recorded, the last thing investigators had wasn't a witness. It was a phone call. Tonight, we're looking at three real disappearances connected by one haunting detail. Each victim was speaking to someone just moments before they vanished. And despite years of investigation, no one knows what really happened. It was shortly after midnight when Brandon Swanson called his parents. He was a college student driving home after a party. He had accidentally driven into a ditch on a quiet rural road in Minnesota. He wasn't injured, and he wasn't panicking. He simply asked his parents to come pick him up. They stayed on the phone as Brandon began walking toward what he believed was the nearest town. His father repeatedly flashed the truck's headlights, hoping Brandon would see them in the distance, but the lights never appeared. Instead, Brandon kept describing landmarks that didn't seem to match where his parents were searching. Then, without warning, he said two words. "Oh, shit." The line stayed connected. But Brandon never spoke again. His parents shouted his name. Nothing. Search teams combed the area for days, then weeks, then years. They found footprints. They found possible clues. But Brandon himself has never been found. How does someone disappear while another person is literally listening? Unfortunately, Brandon wasn't the only one. On a quiet evening in Missouri, Angela Hammond stopped at a payphone to call her fiancé. It was an ordinary conversation. They talked about their day. They made plans. Nothing seemed unusual. Then Angela mentioned something strange. A green pickup truck had been circling the parking lot. Her fiancé tried to reassure her. Moments later, he heard fear enter her voice, then screaming. The phone dropped. The call ended. Her fiancé raced toward the location. As he arrived, he reportedly saw a green pickup speeding away. He tried to follow it, but his vehicle broke down before he could catch up. Angela Hammond was never seen again. Despite decades of investigation, no one has been charged. No one knows exactly who was in that truck or where Angela was taken. 2 phone calls, 2 disappearances, no answers. But the final case is different because investigators believe they may have captured the voice of the man responsible. In August 2010, 20-year-old Amber Tuckerow accepted a ride from a stranger after becoming separated from the people she was traveling with. During the journey, she called her brother. She quietly described what was happening. She questioned why the driver wasn't taking the expected route. At one point, she could be heard asking where they were going. The man answered. His voice was recorded. Amber never made it home. Years later, her remains were discovered in rural Alberta. The investigation remains unsolved. Police eventually released portions of the recorded conversation to the public, hoping someone would recognize the driver's voice. Thousands listened, countless tips came in. Yet the identity of the man heard on that recording remains unknown. Imagine hearing the person who may have taken a life, knowing his voice is out there, and still not knowing who he is. 3 different people, 3 different places, 3 ordinary days that ended in extraordinary mystery. A phone call is supposed to connect us, to make us feel closer, safer. In these cases, it became the final link anyone ever had. Somewhere someone knows what happened. Someone heard a familiar voice, saw a familiar face, or remembers a detail that once seemed insignificant. And maybe, one day, that missing piece will finally bring these stories to an end. Until then, the last words of these calls remain frozen in time, waiting for an answer that still hasn't come.